Welcome to the Know, I'm Ashley. The new super-powered Xbox One X doesn't hit stores till November, but the lucky dogs at Digital Foundry got their hands on the machine at Gamescom, and guess what? They liked what they saw. The tech experts played a number of games on the console, including Quantum Break, Titanfall 2, Gears of War 4, and they were impressed with the visuals that the much-hyped console was able to produce. As for Gears 4, Digital Foundry said the upgrade was substantial. They added, at the most basic level, you're getting a native 4K version of one of Xbox One's most technically accomplished, visually arresting titles, backed up by the high-end texture assets previously exclusive to the PC version of the game. Sounds promising. Meanwhile, Microsoft says this is the fastest selling Xbox ever for pre-orders. The Project Scorpio edition of the console was put up for pre-order on Sunday, and Microsoft says it's been selling out in a record time. They didn't give specific pre-order numbers, but the special edition is currently out of stock in pretty much every major retailer in the US. So if you're hoping to find one, good luck. Speaking of consoles, business is pretty good at GameStop these days, and it's all thanks to Nintendo Switch. The retailer said that it saw a boost in earnings in its most recent quarter due to demand for the super popular new console. Can't wait till they report their quarter when the SNES Classic comes out. In an earnings call, CEO Paul Raines said the console has been a massive success and GameStop has seen its hardware sales increase more than 14% year over year. They said that attach rates, meaning how much stuff you buy to go along with the console, have also been very high for the Switch at more than 5-to-1, which is a pretty strong attach rate. We should note though that GameStop also counts accessories in their attach rate, not just games, and well, if you had to buy an SD card or extra Joy-Cons or anything like that, that counts in the attach rate. Still, officials said they're continuing to sell out of new Switches within a matter of days, and they say that the strong demand for the hard-to-find console is expected to continue through the holiday season. So, good luck finding one of those too. It looks like running and hiding was a winning strategy at a recent PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds tournament, which is great news if that's how you play the game, which that's pretty much me. The winner of a PUBG tournament at Gamescom managed to come out on top despite the fact that he didn't kill that many people. That's because players earn points based on the time spent alive, meaning there's incentive to play passively, to stay hidden, stay alive, as opposed to kill a bunch of dudes. The winner, Kyla Minku, who goes by Evermore, took home $15,000, so who are we to argue a success? It's a winning strategy. Speaking of Battlegrounds, its creator, Brendan Green, says that his team is looking into the possibility of crossplay between PC and Xbox One players when the game comes out on the console, which means even more people running and hiding and PC people being like, haha, I have a keyboard. And that's pretty much how that interaction is going to go. The maker of the Vive is considering spinning the VR headset off into a separate business entirely. HTC struggling quite a bit these days as a company and is consulting with an advisor about how to move forward. One possible route is to spin off or just straight up sell the Vive VR business, which is pretty different from HTC's smartphone division. You might remember that HTC recently cut the price of the Vive by $200, which great news for consumers, but can also be a sign that the company is struggling a little bit. They're trying to move as many units as possible because the higher price point just wasn't doing it for them. HTC's lost about 75% of its value over the past 5 years as its smartphone sales have fallen thanks to competition from others. We reported that Crackdown 3 has been delayed till next year, and one Xbox official says that actually they made a mistake in announcing the game as early as they did. Shannon Loftus, general manager for Microsoft Studios Publishing, told Polygon that we probably announced Crackdown too early at E3 in 2014. Back then, it was originally scheduled to release in 2016, which obviously didn't happen, so at the time, didn't seem like too early of an announcement. Loftus added that I think in the past we've made the mistake of announcing some exclusives a little bit too early. We're trying to learn from that mistake and do better, so we have a bit that's in development now that we're not talking about. So if you're wondering why Microsoft isn't talking up a whole bunch of new games and announcing all this crazy stuff, that's probably why. And you know what? I'm okay with it. I'm willing to wait so I can get my hype on closer to launch and then not feel like it's drug out year over year over year. That's good. Crackdown 3 is now scheduled to come out next year after the team said it needed a little bit of extra time to polish the game. After almost 25 years, we're getting a Secret of Mana remake. Square Enix says it's remaking Secret of Mana 2, which was released in North America in 1993 and was sold outside of Japan. It's just plain old Secret of Mana. The game will be released next year for the PlayStation 4 and the PlayStation Vita, as well as Steam. Sony says it'll have high-definition 3D graphics and voiceovers, and it's scheduled to release on February 15th of next year. So, as an example of waiting until closer to launch to announce stuff, that's a pretty good timeline, I'd say, right? This isn't the first time Square Enix has re-released a Secret of Mana game either, though. Earlier this summer, a Mana collection with Final Fantasy Adventure, Secret of Mana, and Seiken Densetsu 3 was released in Japan for the Switch, but that was Japan. There's been a mini controversy brewing over whether or not the upcoming standalone The Batman movie is part of the DC Extended Universe. In a recent interview, director Matt Reeves made it sound like the movie would be separate from the larger DC universe that contains the Justice League and all the other DC movies that are coming out these days, which was kind of confusing, but in a series of tweets yesterday, Reeves tried to set the record straight. He tweeted, "Just to be clear, of course Batman will be part of the DC universe. Batman will be Batman." He added that his previous comments were an attempt to explain that the upcoming film would be focused on Batman and not his connections to the DCEU. So the standalone ticket over here, still canonical, still part of the universe, but doesn't rely on any of their characters or storylines. In some follow-up tweets, he wrote, "In my comments from a while back about not being part of the DCEU, I was talking about the Batman being a story specifically about Batman, not about the others in the universe. That it wouldn't be filled with cameos servicing other stories. It would be a Batman story." So, there you go. Either Reeves was misunderstood or he got a really angry phone call from Warner Brothers last night and had to get his fingers flying. Either way, at least now we know. If you've got a phobia about clowns, which a lot of people do, you might want to skip this movie screening. The Alamo Drafthouse here in Austin, Texas, does a lot of crazy stuff. One of those things, they're holding a clown-only screening. So, yeah, you can attend the special viewing on September 9th only if you're dressed like a clown. I already feel really bad for any unfortunate children who just happen to be in the movie lobby that night and see all these clowns wandering by, or worse, walk into the wrong theater and there's just a bunch of clowns in the dark. The costume-only screening is a nod to the movie's villain Pennywise, who's a killer clown, and you might also remember seeing a recent trailer for the movie that scared the shit out of everyone. Isn't the first time Alamo's held a special screening like this tied to a movie. So back when Wonder Woman came out, they held one for ladies only. But look, even Wonder Woman would get the creeps if she was around a bunch of clowns, right? Right? No one's that strong. It releases in theaters on September 8th, and there will be other screenings for not clowns, if you are not clown and still want to see it, probably. Wonder Woman was one of the biggest hits this year, speaking of Wonder Woman, at the box office, but James Cameron, apparently not a fan. The director of Titanic, who apparently knows what's best for ladies, told The Guardian that he thought the movie was a step backwards. In the interview, he said, "All this self-congratulatory back-patting Hollywood's been doing over Wonder Woman has been so misguided. She's an objectified icon, and it's just male Hollywood doing the same old thing." Not surprisingly, he preferred his own creation, Sarah Connor from the Terminator movies. Wonder Woman's director, Patty Jenkins, responded to Cameron's comments on Twitter. She tweeted a statement saying, "James Cameron's inability to understand what Wonder Woman is or stands for to women all over the world is unsurprising as, though he is a great filmmaker, he is not a woman." Well played, Patty Jenkins. You are correct. As far as we know, he is not. You managed to own James Cameron. You didn't even have to bring Avatar into it. Well done. Whatever. Hollywood can backpedal all they want. I liked Wonder Woman, so there you go. If you want the latest and greatest iPhone, it's gonna cost you. Now, whatever figure you're thinking of right now, or everything it's gonna be, you're saving some money aside, well, guess what? Probably more than that. The newest iPhones are expected to be introduced by Apple next month, with 3 new models, 2 of which will be slightly redesigned and updated versions of the iPhone 7, but the New York Times reports that the 3rd phone will be a high-end version with a new design that has very little bezel and a nearly full-screen display. It will also include wireless charging, which is great, facial recognition capabilities, which is great, but how much are those awesome features going to cost you? Just around $999, according to the Times. But hey, if you've got the money, go for it. I worry that I would drop it immediately and shatter everything that's good and wonderful about it, but if you have lots of spare thousands of dollars, you absolutely should do it, and then let me borrow it so I can play with it. It'll be fun. All right, that's the news we have for you guys for this roundup. Let us know what you think of all these stories in the comments down below. So make sure you get news from every corner of the internet every single day like this video. If you're new here, subscribe to the know. if we survive the hurricane that's coming through tomorrow, like overnight, tonight, tomorrow, a little bit of both, we'll be back next week. So if Microsoft is silent, you're not sure why they're not announcing more games, that's maybe why. Crackdown 3, blah, blah. Yeah, after almost 25 years, we're getting a Secret of Mana remake. Mana, I always say Mana, I know it's Mana, I know it. Seiken Detsetsu, damn it, Seiken